fellow woodworkers and makers of great things. Welcome to my shop. It's good to have you. Hey, if you've been following my channel, you know that a while ago I put up a shop tour video, and I can't believe it, but that was April of 2022, so 2+ years, 2.5, oh my gosh, almost 3 years ago. Time flies. And since then, I've done a few changes, things that you might find interesting. I don't know, but I look at everybody else's shop and everybody else's shop tours, and I pick up ideas from it all the time. And they, in some convoluted way, they always get incorporated into what I do, little bits and pieces. So, you know, I don't know that I've ever copied something directly, but I always take elements of what people do and put them into my own work. So I thought I'd share my changes with you. So let me take you around the shop, and we'll look at some of the things that have happened in those last 2.5+ years, mostly around dust collection, And I must admit that I've become a bit of a Festool fanboy. Sorry to say, if you're one of the Festool haters out there, but let's face it, man, for dust and for quality, most of their stuff is really, really great. But let me take you around. I'll show you what I did. I'll show you where we are, and I'm asking you for a little help too in there, particularly on a joiner decision. So pay attention and see if you can help me out. Let's take a walk around the shop together. If you've seen my prior shop tour video, you know you're pretty familiar with the place already. So I'll just give a quick walk around. For those of you who may not seen it, of course, I'll leave a link to it at the end of this video. But this is my workbench area. I've got some tools and jigs and stuff like that, you know, stored over here. Some chisels, some files, and then the workbench has a plane section, measuring and marking, saws, hammers, more chisels, and some small planes. We've got a bunch of clamps up there, hardware cabinet, side bench, utility cart, drill press, shop heat, more clamp storage, some remnants of, or some samples of legs that I've designed over the years or put together. In the middle of the shop, we have the table saw. Got some stock on there for a cherry piece I'm working on. We've got our jointer over here, a 6-inch jet jointer. I'm really trying to figure out if I can get an 8-inch joiner in there, and I don't know, I'm just so limited on space, but I may have to get out the hot glue and the cardboard and the sticks and mock one up and see if I can possibly do it, because I'm 6-inch joiner is a little bit rough. Over here we have some storage for commonly used table saw accessories, a little high storage up there for things that I don't grab often. Bunch of veneer on the wall over here, along the back wall, and in this cutout we have some storage, some cabinets, as well as the bandsaw. Bandsaw is an interesting thing. Maybe I'll pull that out later, and we can take a look at it, because I really wanted to get a bigger bandsaw and you know, have a little more resaw capacity, and you know, just a better setup. You know, my old bandsaw didn't have blade tension release or anything like that. Problem is, I can't fit it in there. There's nothing on the market, you know, in a 14-inch bandsaw that's going to fit in that cutout I have. And if I don't have the place to keep it, I can't do it. So what I've done to this bandsaw pretty recently was I've upgraded it, and I've put a riser block on it. I put a tension release on it, and upgraded the tires, put a new fence on it. Did a bunch of things to make this the best 14-inch bandsaw that I can have. Over here we got sharpening station. We have the battery center that I've covered quite extensively in some videos. You know, I've limited my batteries to Milwaukee and Festool, and really got the charging space down to a pretty small size. Of course, now I started keeping my camera stuff over here, my lights and chargers and stuff like that. So as soon as you make space in the shop, you start using a grinder. We'll get into this in a minute. This is my sanding station. That's changed. And you come around here and you've got, you know, a router table tucked back away, lathe tools, and a dust collector. So let's start with talking about the things that have changed since the last video. And we'll start with dust collection. Most of what I've been working on has to do in one way or another with improving my dust situation, and I got it really under control. This is an old dust collector. I mean old. What was it? 1993 from Wilkie in York, Pennsylvania. They're no longer around. At least they're not selling tools. And the big upgrade was I replaced the upper bag, the filter bag, with a regular filter. And then I improved the seal on the lower bag. See if we can get in here so that you can see I've got a gasket under there now. So this bag seals really well, whereas the old bag, every place there was a pleat, you'd have a fissure of dust coming out when you're running the thing. So between that gasketing the bottom of the bag and putting in this Win environmental filter, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the micron thing. I think it's like 1 micron or half a micron. It's ridiculously good, and it really works and made an improvement. I've got a video on that. If you want to look in my video library, you'll find a pretty short video on how I did that and where I got the stuff and how it goes together. Number 2 for dust collection is I went out and got a shop filter. All right, this is a Wen, and I'm sorry I don't know the capacity of it or anything like that. But these things, I know when I researched them, there didn't seem to be a lot of difference between the brands. You got a fan, a box, and some filter material, and I don't know that this is something that it pays to invest in. The best in. You guys know I will invest in the best when I think it's a wise decision, but I didn't see it here. So I got the Win. It's perfectly fine. The one thing that I would recommend if you get one of these, and I'm happy I did, is to oversize it. Figure out the square footage of your shop situation, right? And then, figure out how many CFM you need to move, measure that against the capacity of the system, and make sure it will filter your shop comfortably on low fan speed. These things can get noisy, and if you care about your environment in terms of dust and in terms of sound and just being comfortable in the shop, this thing's going to make noise when it runs. I don't care, who makes it. So if you can run it on low and still get the CFM movement you need for your shop, then you're going to be better off with a larger unit. All right, and the cost isn't usually that much more. At least it wasn't when I looked. I could have easily sized this down and easily covered the CFM for this small shop. But again, I thought, let's go with the larger unit and make sure we can run this thing on low speed and keep it as quiet as possible. Speaking of dust collection, I've changed out all my sanders. And for those of you who would remember, maybe I'll get a picture of my old sanding cabinet here. I've gone exclusively with Festool for the sanders, and the reason, dust collection, it's outstanding. You can't beat it for dust collection. They're great sanders, don't get me wrong, but I don't know that the difference between sanders is all that much, and who does a better job and who has less vibration. I think they're all within a very acceptable range, but certainly the Festool will help you with the dust collection for sure. So I've got a random orbital sander on the right here, and then I've got 2 finished sanders, and one is the triangular base, so you can get into smaller areas. Of course, when you get new sanders, you have to spend what seems like almost just as much on new paper. So I had to load up with all the Festool stuff. And let me tell you something that I don't like about Festool. I don't like sustainers. I know everybody's in love with them. Look at the footprint for these 3 sanders. They go away nice. You can retrieve them easily. I don't get the sustainers. You got these plastic boxes that you've got to, pull out of a stack, open up, dig out your sander. Why do we do that? I mean, I guess if you work in the field, if you're a trim carpenter, a finish carpenter, and you've got to move these tools around, absolutely, those sustainers would be a great thing. But for in the shop, I don't use them. I got them piled up outside. I got to try to find a way to get rid of them. I don't know if anybody buys those or not. I don't know if there's a market. I got to check eBay in places and see if there's a market for them. But very, very happy with the Festool sanders. They work really well. And they keep the dust down. And I did the same thing on my routers. All right, I had one Festool router. I bought a second, so I can get some light on that for you. I had this OF 1400. It's a pretty big router. I was using the Porter Cable 690 when I didn't want this bigger router, so I replaced that with the Festool OF 1010 router. And you know, they're really nice routers. But again, are they that much nicer? Well, not so much in functionality, but in dust control, good Lord, they're great. They're really, really great. Unfortunately, Festool does not make a palm router, a small router. They make an edge banding tool, but it's not a router. It's not functional as a small router. So I still have my Bosch Colts, which have been with me forever. So that's a big upgrade, is the dust collection on the Festool routers. Again, forget the sustainers. They're going right there. You know, look at that footprint. So all this dust collection improvement with Festool isn't worth a nickel unless you have the CT26E extractor. You know, I always thought, I've been thinking about buying this for years, and just the price is, you know, it's a little crazy. But when I got serious about dust collection, I sprung for it, and it's amazing. If you get this thing, I highly recommend that you get this Bluetooth button that you can put on the hose, so that anytime you want to go clean something up, you can turn it on and off without keep walking back to the machine. And another thing I like that I went for was this sustainer. I like because it bolts right to the top of the machine, and it keeps all the vacuum accessories that I need handy and at my disposal. So I do like that sustainer. The other ones, you can have them. What else is new in the shop? Well, you guys have seen that, you know, that I've upgraded my driver and bit caddy. There's a couple of videos on that. And you'll also notice that I upgraded my drills. I've gone to Festool now for the drills. This is a 12 volt, nice nimble drill. Love it, love it. This is a full size drill. This one's 18 volts, you know. And then I've got the impact driver here, also 18 volts. And that is a direct replacement for my old Makitas. Those were the old black and white Makitas. And I got down to only one battery for each tool, and they had to be replaced, you know, because you can't have one battery. You need backup batteries. Keep it moving in a job. So what I did was I said, let me go Festool. It was a toss up between Festool and Milwaukee, again, because of my battery management idea. And I just thought that the Festool made the nicer product, and went with that. What else is new in the shop? We got a new miter station. That is the battery powered Festool. I bought it for two reasons. You know, I had a Bosch sliding compound miter that was absolutely fine. The thing just took up way too much space for this tiny environment. And there was zero dust collection on it. So going with the Festool and this, you know, storage system, this foldable cart. Look at the footprint on this thing. It tucks right in that space, takes up very, very, very little footprint. And when I need it, I can set it up. And if I need it as a true miter station, I've got the extension wings that clip on in just a couple of minutes. And I can use that if I have a long stock, or if I want to use the stops to do repeated cuts, I can put them on. And I keep them right over here. They sit right down there until I need them, and then they come off and fold on. And let's take a look at some photos of what that looks like when it is set up. So here you can see the KSC 60EB cordless compound miter station, and I rolled that underframe out from storage, flipped it open, opens in seconds with no tools, and she's up and ready to go. I've got the dust collection all hooked up, simple as can be. Here, I've added the extension wings, so now I can handle the length of a piece. And you can also see here where this becomes effectively a full-size miter station with stops that you can use to do repeated cuts. When it's all done, you fold it up, you put it back away, you get it out of the way. Let's get back to the bandsaw. So I fully intended to upgrade this 14-inch bandsaw from its current state, and I think I've had this since 2002, if I'm not mistaken. It's been around a while. It's great. It's a great saw. You know, I was thinking of going with the Laguna or maybe the Jet, the newer 14-inch bandsaws that have everything, you know, you want in a bandsaw. This one has been upgraded now. Again, I couldn't fit it in the foot space. So what I did was I put in the riser block to get more resaw capacity. It gives me 12-inch resaw capacity now as opposed to 6 on the stock unit. I've upgraded the fence. Got a 2-position fence now that is much more stable, much better for resawing. I've had the Carter guides for a long time, and they're just wonderful. I changed out the tires. I went with those blue Carter tires. I've always run Timberwolf blades. So one of the things that you have to do when you change the into the riser block is you got to go buy an all new blade. So if you've got blades, I forget that, I think it goes from 98 inches to 101 inches, but you know, I had to upgrade the old blade storage there to have the variety that I need. These are 105 inches. I believe the old ones were something like 98, something like that. They're useless now. The other thing I put on this was a tensioner so that I can release the tension on the blade every time. While I was in there, I changed out the spring. That was 20 some years old, so I figured while I'm taking it all apart, let's do that. And it was an interesting job. It was quite a bit of work actually to get this up. But I now have a bandsaw with some of the features that I really wanted, the resaw capacity that I really wanted. But the jury is still out because I haven't done a serious resaw, nothing near 12 inches yet. So I'm curious as to how well this 1 horsepower motor is going to work, you know, resawing. I'll have to come to that conclusion when I get the opportunity to try to resaw something that thick. But I am not opposed to, you know, upgrading the motor to 1.5 or 2 horsepower. I don't know what I could get in 110 volts, you know, and then you got to find a motor with the right bolt patterns and shaft size and all that. But, you know, I guess if I think I need it, I'll get something 1.5 to 2 horsepower, and I can always upgrade this because, again, no matter what I think about the bandsaw, if it doesn't fit in that cubby hole, I can't have it. I am not going to disassemble this cabinet or reconfigure it. A wall's a wall, concrete footings. It's just not going to happen. All right, so let me know your thoughts. I shot a lot of footage while I was upgrading this bandsaw. So if you guys are interested in seeing, you know, how you put in riser blocks, how you put in that tensioner, change out tires on a bandsaw, set up a band, all that stuff, I've got a ton of footage. I haven't had the time to assemble it into any meaningful video. I probably have hours of footage, and I don't want to just, you know, run it straight out because that'll bore everybody to death. But if you guys are interested in seeing a video on, you know, tuning a bandsaw, modifying a bandsaw, you know, bringing it up to a better state, let me know in the comments and we'll put it together. Another thing I wouldn't mind if you guys would comment on and help me out. I'm thinking about, again, you know, upgrading this joiner to something that's 8 inches. And first of all, it's gonna be a matter of fitting it in there. So like I said, I plan to get some very detailed measurements on a couple of 8-inch saws and mock up the size and put a little mock-up model in there and see if I can even do it. But what I've reviewed so far, and I'm only beginning this process, is the Grizzly 8-inch and the Jet 8-inch. So if anybody out there has any recommendations, first-hand recommendations on a good 8-inch joiner, please let me know. You know, they seem to run anywhere from about $1,600 to $2,600. You know, depending on the model and the cutter head, of course, whether you go helix or straight knife. And I think I might go straight knife. I do not ever look for a finished surface off of a jointer. And I don't use my joiner aggressively ever. I'm more than happy to take fine passes on my joiner. I just think that's a good rule of thumb for any of us non-professional woodworkers. If you're a professional woodworker and you get jobs out, you got to have, you know, commercial level machinery that can hog out 1/8 of an inch on a joiner. For us guys and gals who, you know, are making a project at a time, if I take 3 more passes on that joiner, does it really matter? I don't think so. So anyway, but court's still out. Let me know your thoughts. I sure would appreciate it. So as some of you may know, if you've seen the video, I'm also upgrading my finish nailer, brad nailer, and stapler because my old pneumatic ones either need to be rebuilt or thrown away, and I've opted for the latter. So I've gone to Milwaukee on those. I've had the finish nailer and the brad gun for a while now. I just got the stapler. I was waiting for a sale, man. I have a hard time buying this stuff if I can't get what I think is a deal. So the stapler finally came down. It's a 1/4 inch narrow crown stapler. It finally came down in price. Or I found it down in price from $299 to $249, so I grabbed it up. Got a bunch of drill bits out because I got to find a better way to organize my drills. So that's just something I'm working on as we go. Guys, I think that's it for the shop tour. I think I've been around, showed you everything. Oh, this router table, did we talk about that? I can't remember. All right, for those of you who have seen this router table in my shop before, it was considerably taller. When I designed and built it, I said, hey, I'm making this myself. Why don't I put it near waist height? I'm a little on the tall side. Let me put this near waist height so that I'm not bending over this machine all the time when I'm making repetitive cuts. And that seemed like a great idea at the time. The problem was it was taller, taller than the table surfaces of the other tools. So anytime I wanted to store this thing back in a corner like that, it would stick up above the table saw or get in the way of something that I was doing. So I took this apart and I cut it down. I just simply, you know, disassembled all those wooden pieces, trimmed them to size, and put it right back together. This has the onboard dust collection with the 2 hoses. So I've got a hose running to the fence. I've got a hose running through the handle of the router. Porter Cable has a router where you can put a hose right through the handle. So it's got a phenomenal dust collection. And if you're interested, I have a video on onboard dust collecting, you know, that covers that pretty well. The other thing that happened here was when I went with the Festool miter saw, I lost my 1-inch belt sander. That used to be the spot for my 1-inch belt sander. And I just don't have room for both. It troubles me a little bit because I like that I like to have that sander around. So I've got to figure out a way to have a small, narrow belt sander, you know, that it just comes in so handy for grinding metal, sanding stuff. You use it all the time. You don't realize it, but it was a handy tool to have. So I might have to figure something out to get a small, narrow belt sander back in the shop. But that'll bounce around in my brain probably for a year or two before I figure that one out. All right, anything I'm missing? Oh yeah, plastic storage. I used to have a bunch of shoe boxes up there and stuff strewn about. I finally organized it and labeled it and marked it, and we can see through them now, and I can remember what's in there. I hate plastic boxes. I hate plastic in my shop. Unfortunately, I don't know what else to do. Again, I had shoe boxes, wooden boxes, all kind of stuff up there. I never knew what I had for sure, so I pulled it all down, I organized, and I got it in order. And I guess I have to deal with it. I guess I have to deal with it. But that's my feeling on plastic boxes and my feeling on Festool sustainers. Yeah, not something I like to keep around. All right, let me get to work. I want to get. I've got these nail guns out because I want to build a way to organize them real quick. All my boxed tools, so to speak, are down here, right? And among those box tools are the three that I'm replacing: the narrow crown stapler, the brad nailer, and the finish nailer. So what I have to do is get them out of there and create a vertical rack that I can stand my stapler and brad nailer and finisher nailer in. So I got to work that out, and I want to get back to work and try to find a way to organize all these drill bits. There's more. This is just what I've pulled out so far. I've got a big box of Forstners. I got some oversized bit. I got a few more out, but got a lot of bits, and I want to find a place for them so they're not strewn about.